Hello and welcome to Austin Anderson Sports Talk, where today we're starting in the NBA, where the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, the Indiana Pacers, are down 2-1 in their series against the 8-seeded Atlanta Hawks. So how is that possible? The number one team in the East, with the best record, they started Roy Hibbert every single game. Now Roy Hibbert is a 7'2" center out of the University of Georgetown. He was out-rebounded this season by a 6'5" shooting guard, Lance Stevenson. Roy Hibbert is averaging 5.4 points per game. The Hawks' up and down style of offense and game, and their shooting threes led by Kyle Korver, it's physically outmatching the Indiana Pacers. And yes, I would say this right now, the Atlanta Hawks are the toughest matchup in the Eastern Conference outside of the Miami Heat. And they got them in the first round as an 8 seed. So do I think the Indiana Pacers will come back? No. The Atlanta Hawks are too much. They're too quick. They're too up and down. And until Frank Vogel makes the decision to permanently put their center, Roy Hibbert, on the bench, this team will be out in the first round, and Vogel will probably lose his job. And for the rest of the playoffs, the Thunder are in trouble down 2-1 against Memphis. The Dallas Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki stole a game in San Antonio. And in the playoffs, every team, outside of maybe the Charlotte Bobcats, have a chance to win their playoff series. Now that's exciting basketball. And in the NFL draft is approaching quickly. The Texans still have to make a decision at number 1, and I'm not sure it's between more than 3 options: Jadeveon Clowney, Khalil Mack, or trade down. And in this segment, we're going to show you who's looking to trade down, who's looking to trade up, and who's going to stay at their place in the top 10. So starting at that top spot, the Houston Texans, they're at number 1. But look for them to deal down if they're not totally sold on Jadeveon Clowney. Or their offer they get, which I believe will be from the Atlanta Falcons, is too much to pass up. The Atlanta Falcons are desperate for pass rushers. And if they give up their spot at 6, next year's first-round pick, and a 3rd round this year, I think that'll get the job done. And you don't have to look too far for the next team looking to trade down. That'd be the St. Louis Rams at number 2. They'd love it for Jadeveon Clowney to fall there, not because they want him on their team, which I'm sure they do, but because that pick will be skyrocketed in value compared to if Jadeveon goes first overall to whatever team. If they stay there, they're probably looking to take Greg Robinson, possibly Sammy Watkins. But with Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin, and just recently signing former Tennessee wide receiver Kenny Britt, I think they're pretty happy with their receiving core right now. But if they can trade down to possibly the Falcons again, who would get Khalil Mack instead of Jadeveon, or to a team looking for Sammy Watkins, like possibly the Detroit Lions or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or to a team that wants a quarterback like Cleveland Browns, the Minnesota Vikings, who move up to get a guy like Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel. And so who's looking to get into the top 5? The Vikings could move up to get Blake Bortles. The Bills might want to crack it, Jadeveon, Khalil, Sammy. But the team I'm eyeing right now is the Detroit Football Lions. They've brought in Jadeveon Clowney, Khalil Mack, as well as Sammy Watkins for pre-draft visits to Allen Park, Michigan. Now, none of those guys are even going to come close to making it to 10th overall. But if one of those guys makes it to 5th, you can look for the Detroit Lions and Martin Mayhew to make a move up, probably just giving up their 2nd rounder to get an electrifying playmaker. But personally, if I'm the Lions, if those guys aren't there, if I have to give up a 1st rounder or more than 1 2nd round pick, I'm looking to trade back, probably to Dallas at 16, where the Dallas Cowboys would move up to get defensive tackle Aaron Donald out of the University of Pittsburgh, and the Lions would fall back to 16